Hello, this is Life Stories. Welcome to the show. Today marks the end of season 2 of Life Stories. I must say this show has changed my life. It's been a blessing meeting people from all walks of life and a privilege sharing their stories with you. But what you see every week is the end result of a very long process that we go through to bring you this show. So today I bring you the story behind Life Stories. Basically what we go through to bring you life stories. I'm hanging at the Sojavalo Hotel, Ruaga Road. My name is Justine, your host. Welcome to the show. Discovering a story starts with research, which I do by visiting libraries, digging up old information from newspapers, books, journals, or the internet. With Monitor, July 2010, and also help me with the footage of late Noble Mayombo's burial. The footage is this side. All right, thank you. Each program you see on NTV goes through a meticulous process of evaluation and analysis by what we call the program focus groups. This is the focus group of the Life Stories program. So you guys, the last week there was Mary Kabito's story, and her husband take care of children with multiple disabilities in their home in Rengo district. How did you find the show?
Actually, the show was good and it was touching.
I think it's such stories that need to be put out there because you find that her story was really something that you relate with.
Actually, I think it was one lesson to learn that we usually imagine that angels are in heaven. For sure.
The members of the Life Stories focus group will most times also share a story that is worth looking into. You know, just a few months after her wedding, and she died. So?
And then?
I mean, it's a story.
What? I mean,
No,
so many
what?
people are telling us.
What is so
So
interesting?
what is so,
What
I
is the
mean,
word?
Okay, what makes her story special enough to be in line with the focus of Life Stories is because she was just 3 months into her marriage and she's pregnant, and then she gets this terrible accident, and in a way she was just standing by the road waiting to cross, and then it was a rainy day. The truck slips off the road, and one of its metals gets a hold of her sweater, and when the truck went back to the road, it didn't realize it had carried somebody. She was a medic. So at that point, she was strong enough to tell that she's going to die, because even when people were trying to help her, she told them, I'm going to die, but just rush me to hospital and get my baby out. So the fact that this person was dying, but they still had, and she was telling them, call my mother because I know that I'm over bleeding and I may die in time, please call my mother, and they talked to her. And when the mother came, the mother was crying and what? Unfortunately, that lady died with her child.
How old was the pregnancy?
It was 8 and something months. I think that's why she insisted that they remove the baby.
So,
and also what makes it a story is the strength the mother had, because the mother says that when she came and saw the daughter, she almost just fainted. But from the time the daughter started telling her, be strong, just tell her doctors to do this, she didn't even cry until the girl passed away. It's when she was like, we could put it tribute show, stroke the husband's pain, stroke the parents.
Actually, my view is you should approach that story in that direction.
In its story, the deceased is gripping, but we shall not see that, and she is not there to tell us about it. So you have to be careful what angle you started from. Is it the hospital that she left? What it has been doing and all that, then we get to where it started from? Or
No, of
do
course
we start from the
with
husband?
the wedding. We shall start it with the wedding, because what makes it a striking, okay, Should I say that?
I think we are better off starting with happy moments.
Yeah,
they
happy
had.
moments. So the viewer needs a take-home value. That why do people still move on? Why does this mother still praise God, still move on with her life, still look forward to another day when she watched such a product live her life?
Charles, thank you for bringing that up. Because what I was trying to get was, what angle are you coming in from? For example, his angle is accidents.
At times you don't even know what to expect. And then she comes in with the link. Which link I think Charles is talking about would be the best.
Yeah.
And then now from the road, we go to the happy times of the wedding. Now details. Really. Now you're driving us to
the real thing.
Yeah.
I guess we have a story here.
Yeah.
Yeah. You finally convinced us.
Alright, you guys. I'll be getting in touch with the head of production about the flow of our story.
Based on the leads that follow from the group members, it's then time for me to present these to the production manager for further evaluation and direction.
Hello, Kathy. Hey, Justine. How are you? I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. What's happening?
Yes, today we're talking about the guests. First of all, the guests that we have for our next show. That is the episode of the Blind Nut Manager.
The one from Western.
The one from Western Uganda, Kabale district.
All right.
Yes, I'm suggesting that in his interview we get some other guests besides him. So who do you think is ideal?
To beef up the story. Is he married?
He is married.
Yeah. So we would have an interview with his wife, his parents. Are they still alive?
They're still alive, both of them.
Okay. His kids. How old are his kids?
They're young. One is 1.
1 year. Okay, so no. I think if you have an interview with his wife, his parents, that would be great. Yeah. Then his parents can just tell us, their experience is just raising up a blind child. And is his wife blind as well?
No.
Okay, so that would make a very interesting show.
Once the approval has been given, the next step is determining who the interviewees will be.
His story is he does not have both hands. He lost his hands.
Is it that? Is he in politics or something?
Yes, he's a speaker of Sandatown Council in Chirugura district. So that is the story that we showed last Saturday, and this is how this is the rough script.
Reading this, it's all good. What I suggest you do is you just take the first 3 sentences and make them a part of your intro. Okay, because they're very powerful. So we want to see you say them as opposed to just hear you say them. So you add this to your intro so that all this forms part of your intro, and then your narrative can start from somewhere here. Yeah? That way it makes a bit more sense because this is really powerful. Yeah? So you've started the story from the end to the beginning. Okay, it makes a lot of sense. I like it. So it's a yes.
Alright, so I'm going to send you the soft copy of the reference.
I then started chasing appointments with the guests. In the beginning, it was hard. Many of the people that we wanted to feature on the show were afraid. Guests were afraid of telling their life stories on television. Others were downright cynical about the value of doing the show. And I understand that in the beginning things were hard. Television is fresh here. But the story is different now. The same people who are afraid, who are cynical, who are not sure about being on the show, are the same people who call me up and tell me, we're glad we came on the show. They're really happy because they have people calling them and telling them they've learned from their life stories. And even them, when they watch the show, you realize they're happy. You realize, I shared this particular story and people learn from it, and it empowers you as well. Because, when you talk about something that is hard, you feel good. Take an example of Mrs. Juliet Mayombo. She empowered so many women out there with her story. So many women have lost husbands at a very young age. So many women go through different things. Some is not necessarily losing a husband, but they go through similar pain. Different circumstances, but similar pain. And when they watched this young lady give her story and the strength she had, it empowered so many women.
Noble was a loving husband. I must say it has been hard, and I have no fear that the Lord who gave me Noble and took him away, he has a great plan for our family. I just went down on my knees and prayed to God, because at the moment I felt he's the only one that can see me through. He gave me Noble, he took him away.
What people have to understand is the human component of life stories. When you watch somebody that has experienced triumph over adversity, you find hope for your own situation. Because at the end of the day, depressed people are all over the place. Everybody's going through something. But when you watch somebody that has been strong through it all and they've come a long way, you get some strength to face whatever you're going through yourself. That is really what Life Stories is all about. Getting a guest to come to the show to share with the world their pain and sorrow is not child's play. All the guests have different personalities, and I handle a particular guest depending on their personality. Some guests have been hurt so bad that for them to come onto national television to share with a stranger and the whole world about their unspeakable past or the ugly truth in their lives is not easy. It's not easy at all. Viewers have phobia for being on television, especially to talk about their life. They think that people out there will think they're seeking for attention or sympathy. Yet actually TV and the media at large is a platform that can be used for totally good reasons, for empowerment, for unity, for betterment of society. And that is the line in which this show, Life Stories, is presented. When convinced, the guests accept to come onto the show and are very proud of the shows thereafter. Some easily accept and some come very hard. When I approach guests, some of them actually tell me they will first pray about it and then get back to me. You know? For example, when I approached Mrs. Dora Kutesa, the wife to Major General Picos Kutesa, and I, told her about the show and I requested her to be on the show, she told me, you know what, let me first pray about it, and if God tells me it's okay for me to be on the show, I'll call you up. This is how serious the matters that we handle on this show are. These are personal things. These are permanent marks in people's lives. And even those who say yes from the beginning. Before you do the show, they tell you, give me a minute, and I say a short prayer. So I was really touched. I said, okay, this is how serious people's real life stories are. And later on when Mrs. Pecos Kutesa called me and said she will be on the show, I couldn't believe it. Because this is a lady that had never, ever took any interview. She always said no to interviews. She never, ever made any comment to any reporter. Because even when they traveled with her husband to India for the surgery where she donated 75% of her liver to him, it was a big story. Reporters there wanted to know, the beginning of the story, what's going on, what made her do that. And she never ever did any interviews. And as much as Major General Picos took some interviews, even when he came back home, she never, no single reporter ever got a comment from her. And later on when she called me up and told me I'll be on the show, to me it was such a sign. It meant something to me that I can't put in a quote. It meant more than I can tell you. And to this day, I really think it was a sign from God probably that you're doing the right thing, go ahead.
So that's why I needed to pray and really see that God is in it. If He's in it, who can be against it?
Give me a lot of respect for ladies. When a woman says I do, they remain I do.
Mr. and Mrs. Picos Kutesa's show was the premiere edition of Life Stories. It was the first show that aired for the program of Life Stories on 26th March 2012. Hello, welcome to the premiere edition of Life Stories. My name is Justine and I'm your host. This is a show where we have a one-on-one with different people who take us through their life experiences from which we learn about virtues like self-control, forgiveness, reconciliation, compassion, love, among many. Today on the show, we meet a family whose breadwinner has fought an alcohol addiction. He has fought this fight in the public eye by virtue of his position in the Uganda People's Defense Forces. This is the story of Major General Pecos Kutesa.
I'm a living testimony because I died and resurrected.
Let's go for a short break, and when we return on the show, you find out what happens behind the scenes on Life Stories. We'll be right back.